Shalom and good evening to everyone. My name is Murrieta. I'm Israeli. I'm a Jew, and I was asked to speak before you today. And I wrote a speech. I'm going to stick to it. It was prepared very hastily today, I would say. So bear with me. To the members of our Jewish community and our Christian friends who stand unwaveringly with Israel, I feel deeply honored and humbled to address you today. My personal journey began as a kid in Barkan. Barkan was a small settlement in the West Bank in Israel. As kids driving in school buses to school, our buses were stoned and Molotov cocktails were thrown at them by Arabs, Muslims similar to our age and a little bit older, shouting from the top of their lungs, "Death to the Jews," and "Allah Akbar," which means their God is who is the one that sends them to kill the Jews. Their God is big. As kids driving in school buses and as kids driving with our parents, I remember one incident that my father taking us to school with one hand on the steering wheel and the other holding an Uzi, which is a weapon, if people don't know. Out as a warning, do not mess with this vehicle. It worked. As I stand here before you today, almost 40 years later, alive and a father to four beautiful Israeli and American children. At the age of 14, it was 1990, Saddam Hussein of Iraq decided to bomb Israel with what we thought then was chemical and biological weapons. What's called today WMDs, weapons of mass destruction. Gas masks were manufactured and quickly dispersed to all citizens of Israel. And as the bomb hit us, we were in the shelters with gas masks on. I was 14. By Judaism, this is already man age. My younger brother, he was 9 years old. Can you imagine your 9-year-old in a shelter with a gas mask on? Luckily, it didn't hit us, but we did hear the terrible boom and death it left in its wake. I have lived through the first Intifada, which is a resistance, the word resistance in Arabic. And through the second one, when our beautiful women, children, elderly, kids were exploding to pieces in parties, buses, and just walking in the mall. I survived, but many of my friends didn't. I was just a senior in high school when a kid in my class got the message that his mother and all of his sisters were shot down by Arab terrorists as they were driving back home, leaving only him and his father to mourn. No, we all mourned that day. The school was not the same after this incident. Fast forward 30 years into the future, and my wife, myself, and 4 children are woken up to sirens that tells us to run to shelters as Hamas from Gaza is bombing us on a daily basis. That was nearly 7 or 8 years ago. My wife was carrying 2 infants, twins, in her hands, and I was rushing her 2 oldest daughters that then were 3 and 5 years old. Can any of you imagine living like this? Israel's story is one interwoven with millennia of triumph, trials, and tragedies. Our history is a testament to the indomitable spirit of the Jewish people, who despite countless adversities, the reason to create a nation that stands as a beacon of hope and innovation in the world. Startup nation, they call us, which I'm proud to say I take part in as the founder of a tech company called Aleph Viewer. Aleph is the first Hebrew letter, and Aleph Viewer is an actually mathematical term. In the annals of history, countless men and women have risen to the cause of their belief, their heritage, and their identity. It doesn't matter if they were Jewish, Christian, or otherwise. from President Franklin D. Roosevelt, navigating the turbulent waters of World War II, displayed a resolve that steered America and its allies towards victory and freed my people from the horrible Nazi regime. To Moses, who led my people out of Egypt, to King David, who united the tribes and established Jerusalem, to more recent luminaries such as Ze'ev Jabotinsky and Theodor Herzl, the visionaries of modern Zionism, and Menachem Begin, which you probably know his name, that displayed unparalleled leadership amidst terrible adversities in Israel. Our history is replete with those who stood tall with indomitable spirit, unyielding in the face of opposition. From ancient times, our ancestors faced persecution. The destruction of the first, second temple in Jerusalem, exile and forced dispersals shaped the early narrative of the Jewish history. Fast forward to the tragic pogroms of Eastern Europe, which saw countless Jews being persecuted simply for their beliefs. Each challenge, instead of breaking us, only served to solidify our communal bonds and determination. The Holocaust, a tragedy beyond comprehension, took 6 million of our brethren, yet from its ashes we rose. Just 3 years later, the state of Israel was born. A testament that even in the darkest times, hope, resilience, and faith in God can create miracles. The faith, strength, and resilience is what makes us so special. Not only in times of darkness, but also in times of light. On October 7th, 2023, the unthinkable happened. Thousands of subhuman scum forced their way into Israel and slaughtered more than 1,000 people. Infants in their cribs were shot in the head, beheaded. Young girls were raped. Their throats were cut off. Israel is different since this day. Investigation of how Nazi acts can happen on Israeli soil will happen. But first, we will finish off this murderous enemy that is lurking at our gates. The new IDF generation, together with countless military reserves, were called to the flag, and they delivered. To fight and finish off this darkness, for Israel and the world to know, no more, never again is now. As an IDF captain, I witnessed firsthand the sacrifices made to ensure that the Jewish homeland remains a sanctuary for Jews worldwide, a place where history, traditions, and innovations come together to form a vibrant tapestry. Sacrifices will again be made, necessary to keep Israel as well as worldwide Jewry safe. I may be too old for the IDF, but I'm not too old to stand here with you, my brothers, sisters, Christians, and Jewish, speaking up with head up high. I say, wear your crosses, wear your shields of David, fly the Israeli flag next to the American flag. And know that you're not alone. We are united against evil. I stand here not merely as a Jew, but as a proud Jew, embodying the spirit of the Maccabees, drawing inspiration from the valor of Bar Kokhba and the carrying forward the legacy of modern pioneers who carved out a homeland against all odds. I'm a son to my parents who also wore the uniform of the Israeli Defense Forces with honor and dignity, and instilled in me the values of service and commitment. Following in their footsteps, I too served in Israel within the ranks of the IDF. Our legacy is not merely of words, but of deeds and sacrifices. I'm a beacon to my children, a king to my siblings, both the Star of David of the Israeli flag and the stars and stripes of the American flag symbolizes my heritage and my allegiance. Having said that, history has taught us that we cannot solely rely on others for our protection. Our Christian allies have been pillars of support, but we, as a community, must also be proactive in ensuring our safety. And in America, where we have the Second Amendment that grants us the right to bear arms, I believe that this right should be exercised for the protection of our community, our synagogues, and our families.
Ow!
But it's not just about physical protection, it's about fostering an environment where young people, young Jews, can grow up with pride in their heritage, understanding their history and their tradition, and being ambassadors of our God and of Israel's story of resilience. Our adversaries seek to delegitimize our existence, but in our unity, education, and advocacy, we can counter their baseless claims. To our Christian brethren who support Israel, your unwavering stance has been a beacon of solidarity for us. Your understanding of Israel's significance, both historically and spiritually, has forged bonds that transcends mere geopolitics. It is the shared commitments to values, freedom, and justice. You are what we call in Hebrew, Chasidei Umot HaOlam, that stand with the Jewish people not only when it's convenient and easy, but more importantly, when it's not. In conclusion, I urge all of you here to channel the spirit of resilience that has defined Israel and the Jewish people for more than 2 millennia. In the face of adversity, we must stand tall, educate ourselves, and ensure that the future generations remain rooted in their heritage while looking forward with hope and courage. Let us remember the words of Psalm 121, a song for ascents. I lift my eyes up to the mountains. Where will my help come from? My help comes from God Almighty. And in Hebrew, Shir Ma'alot, אשא עיני אל ההרים, מאין יבוא עזרי, עזרי מעם השם, עושה שמיים בארץ.
Amen.
Before I conclude this, just so you know, when I came in, the first thing I was looking for is shelters that I can take if something bad happens here. And I think that we as a community should stay vigilant and train ourselves to take care of our families and our community. And as we forge ahead in these challenging times, let us remember the words of Benjamin Franklin, who said we must all hang together, or most assuredly, we shall all hang separately. I urge you to stand with me in understanding and respect and unity and determination. We will continue to thrive and ensure that the story of Israel remains one of hope, resilience, and success. Thank you.